think a lot of teachers think that because they have this title as teacher, they think they can treat you the way they want. With kids like me, a screaming fucking man-child will not help me understand the things that I need to know in order to pass this class. It makes me more scared to actually ask questions and tell this person, I don't know what this means, because I don't want to get yelled at and I don't want to get in trouble. Because when I did, I would be reminded of my dad, Bob, and one more fucking teacher that just made 9th grade biology so fun. I'll probably talk about him later. Sup? Now I know what you're thinking. I also know where you live too. Where have you been, bro? It's been a long time. And you are right. You know what? I have been gone for a little bit. I've just been, you know, finding myself, you know, going through spiritual journeys. Otherwise, just finding a way to get my confidence back. And I say it's back to normal. Kinda. We're getting there. And then I started thinking about, like, how my confidence depleted, I guess. A lot of it had to do with childhood, Mr. You know, that last video I was talking. I think I censored his name, Mr. Was it Steve? Mr. Steve? Whatever. The point is, the teacher, the last video. I don't remember if I mentioned it in that video about the teacher. But there was another teacher too who also like depleted my confidence. Why am I saying depleted like it's a fucking like it's a fucking video game boss or something? Some quick backstory. Transitioning from middle school to high school was kind of scary. Growing up, I was pretty much told what to do instead of being given the space and freedom to figure out what to do. Like, the only reason I actually went to school was because my parents told me, you need to go to school. And I was like, alright. Like, I never considered having a future or ever considered going to college. I didn't consider which subjects would help me in my overall life. I was just going just to go. So I was a literal fucking NPC. I wish I was still an NPC though, because living like this in the world is so fucking tiring, let me tell you. Growing up from elementary school to middle school, it got kind of scary. Have you guys ever had teachers tell you that, you know, as soon as you're about to go to middle school or high school, they're like,
these motherfuckers don't fucking play around, alright? They're gonna eat your ass up, and they're gonna spit it out, and they're gonna compost it, and they're gonna grow you to another fucking flower, and they're gonna eat that shit again, and spit it out, and shit you out, and then compost it all over again.
As a very naive and also go with the flow kind of guy, as soon as I heard all those things, I got fucking scared. I was afraid. And so my class schedule, let me see if I can remember this actually. I had Spanish, math, I had biology, I had history, I had gym. So the first day of high school, I started realizing, oh, these people are cool. And so all of those classes were fun. Except for one. Let's bring it back to 9th grade biology. I'd say most of the subjects that I was taught, I was pretty good at all of them except for science. It was not a subject that I was the most confident in. So my first day, we were lining up outside the door in biology. I remember seeing the teacher, and he looked just like a stereotypical bully that you would see in like Full House or Family Matters or something. He had really curly hair, he was fat, he had like a lab coat on, and he was smiling. He seems like he's chill, carefree, relaxed, and very, 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 very patient. But that's when Fan hit the shit. So one day we were all doing work under the microscope. I think we were looking at our spit or something, I can't remember. And so everybody's putting their stuff away, and I'm cleaning up my own mess, and I'm the last one in the class. I think I gave him a name already, but we're gonna call him Jerry. So Jerry has all of the microscopes labeled with the number and goes into a certain cabinet or whatever. And I go to put mine away, but I realize there's already a microscope in there. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm stuck. Hey, Jerry, somebody put their microscope in my cabinet. Should I move it or? And he goes, oh, sorry, it wasn't my fault. But because I'm a huge problem avoidant person, I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just put it in the spot where this microscope is, because mine is unavailable. Now that I think about it, the smartest thing I could have done is just put the correct microscope in the right spot. And as soon as I do that, he goes, no, 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 no. Just because somebody else makes a mistake doesn't mean that you have to. Now, was I an idiot for doing that? One could argue that I was. One could argue that I wasn't. But if you're angry about something that trivial and you don't tell me how important that is to you, I'm just gonna go with the flow. But no. So I'm just standing there like, oh. So this was like pretty much, I guess, the last piece of how my confidence went. Growing up, I never understood what right from wrong was because I was constantly told what to do, how to do it, do this because I said so. And so I never pushed or asked questions, or I guess engaged further because I was afraid of getting yelled at. But this was past Raz, so he doesn't know this stuff. He's not evolved like me. He never went to therapy. His therapist doesn't affirm him because he never had one. And so, imagine me, a 9th grader, who was influenced by a bunch of people growing up about not speaking up about anything because he's afraid of getting backlash, so he shuts up and does what the person says to make them happy, doing exactly that. So Jerry was the kind of person that won't tell you anything unless you ask him a question. And I'm not talking about like, Jerry, can I use the bathroom? Or Jerry, do you have a pencil I can borrow, please? I'm talking about this guy will stop the whole class and sit down, put his hand on his face, and just wait for us to ask a question about the project that he wants us to do. I'm not kidding. Do you want us to move to our seats? No. Do you want us to pick a partner? No. Are we supposed to ask a question right now? Yeah. I don't know what I don't know. How the fuck am I supposed to ask a question if I don't know what fucking question you want me to ask you? You're the teacher. I'm the student. You teach me things, I learn from you. That does not mean that you get to abuse your power and fucking use mind games on us because we don't know what fucking question you want us to ask you. Sorry, I have a lot of rage for this. So he's that kind of guy. And it got to the point where I started getting stressed out and I felt like stress in my chest. Stress in my chest. Yo, here we go, stress in my chest. You know, you got the breasts. Whoa, sorry. And I started getting anxious and I started panicking, but silently. Damn! So in order for me not to stress out and for this guy not to freak out, I just started asking questions like crazy. And I don't even remember what I was asking because I wanted this guy to just move on with the subject so we can get out of the classroom faster. And then it got to a point where I would constantly raise my hand and he would say, okay, could somebody else raise their hand because I'm sick and tired of seeing this guy raise his hand all the time. I'm sick and tired of this guy using his power to abuse us. I can't win when I ask him questions. I can't win when I don't ask him questions. And then it got to a point where, you know, sometimes we'd have block days, which meant that Wednesday and Thursdays would be cut off for first, third, and fifth period, and second, fourth, and sixth, respectively. I don't know. I don't get the concept of block days, but essentially you leave early while also being in classes for longer. And I hated Wednesdays because it was fifth period, which meant it was Jerry's class, which meant we were there for an hour and a half. And this guy hated our period because nobody would ask questions. Nobody was engaging in the subject. Maybe they probably weren't, but I was too in my head trying not to make this man yell at me because I didn't want to. Mom, I have trauma, okay? I have trauma. So one day, he was once again frustrated with us, and I guess I asked a question. Whether it was a right question or a wrong question. And then he just explodes. Why can't anyone else ask a question? You! I was actually gonna do this with my rabbit for real, but she died. So now she's in here. Maybe she will. And then a TA comes in as he's yelling at us. You! And then Jerry turns around, his face all red, his hair all messed up. Hi! I have something for you. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yeah. But then, because it was such a funny, like, you can't make this shit up, like, break in, like, tension, everybody just starts laughing as he's going, yeah! What the fuck? Like, I could not wrap my head around this. I couldn't tell if this guy was just emotionally unstable, or if this was his like teaching method, or if like he's just putting on a show, or if I'm in the fucking Truman Show, the Razzle Show, the Razzle Dazzle Show, the Zelford Show. Hi. But I just knew that this guy was insane. It wasn't the mental anguish or the emotional anguish or just the physical anguish in my body that caused me a lot of stress and pain. But it was this moment that I knew he was crazy. But my final straw with this guy was in that moment. I was still a little bit like, oh man, I want this guy to understand that I respect him and I'm trying and I'm learning and I want to be here. One day I just, I think he said something to me and then I was like, yes, sir. You know, just out of respect, you know? Tell me why. He disregards what I just said to him and just says, okay, so my father was in the army, so please use it correctly. Sir, yes, sir. Ain't nothing but a heartache. Tell me why. I didn't ask to be born, yet here we are. And so yeah, the school year ends and I'm like, finally. And I think part of the problem for me, like the reason why I was so anxious was that I had a hard time learning. In school, it was really hard for me to pay attention, to retain information. I think the reason why I got by in school is because I just followed what the teacher said. Do this like this and you'll pass. Okay, cool. But I never understood why I was doing it or why it was important. I only did it because they were telling me. And I mean, in any scenario with a teacher ever, like if you don't listen to what they do, you get punished. I think my idea of punishment was more extreme than the next guy because I would think, oh no, they're yelling at me, therefore I'm in trouble. Oh, I'm in trouble. Oh shit. I tried to make peace instead of pushing that person more into getting angry with me. So I never spoke up. I never asked questions. I never had a will to learn more because I was afraid of the other person getting angry with me. Essentially, once I understood that most people don't have patience and they put out their frustration on you, it's not your fault for not getting it the first time. Like if you have a huge lack of patience and you're taking it out on me, I'm not gonna take that as you being mad with me. I'm just gonna think, wow, that person needs therapy. But not this guy. Hey, I actually do. I have depression. I got more confident with understanding that I did fuck up, but you have no right to talk to me like that. I guess that's what I've been doing the last year, baby. Woo! If I had one more thing to say to everybody, just have more patience. Have more empathy. Use Jerry as the model of what not to do, because you'll just be a dick. But there's an epilogue. The circumstances were very unfortunate. My drama teacher's best friend passed away suddenly a few years ago, and I was invited to the memorial. And so I go to the memorial, see a bunch of teachers that I haven't seen in a minute, and this was like maybe 4 years after high school. I was able to mingle with them. We were able to talk about stories about this person and just catch up. And it was all good. It was fine. It was cheesy. It was a piece of cake. It was beautiful. And then I saw Jerry. Now, as soon as I saw him, I got really angry when I saw him. Like, I think if I was still the really quiet, really submissive little boy that I was, I probably would have actually gone up to him and talked to him and be like, you were a really great teacher. No, I wanted to stay the fuck away from him. And if he came near me, I was gonna sock him in the mouth, but I never wanted to talk to him, so I pretended not to see him. Point is, I went the whole night without talking to him. A few of my high school friends were there too, and I went with them. And one of them goes, oh look, there's Jerry. I'm not talking to him. I am not gonna hide it from him that I don't like him. And if he comes to me and tries to talk to me, I am just gonna stare at him cold stone. Basil, don't do that, man. And then maybe a few hours go by and it's ending. And she goes up to him and she's talking to him. And I'm like, cool, you keep him over there. And of course, I see them on the corner of my eye come to us. And he comes up to me with this stupid fucking smile. Hey. Hi. Hey, you were in my class, right? Yeah, I was. I forgot your name. What's your name again? Raziel. Yes, how you been, man? How you been? Good. You been up to anything, or like what you been up to? Nothing, just been doing this here and there. Oh man, that's great. I told you I wasn't gonna hide it. I I don't like this guy. And who knows? Maybe maybe the woke mob got to him and they were like, wow. Just wow. Just wowdy wowdy wow. Just wee wow 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 wow. Maybe he felt the attack of the blue-haired people or something. I don't know. Maybe he's changed. Maybe he's mellowed down. Maybe he realized how much of a fucking dick he is. But regardless, I just hold these memories. And if he's doing better, good for him. I don't wish him anything bad. I mean it. I didn't have a script for this. I just put the camera up and I was like, we're gonna talk about this guy, and just started rambling. But you know, we'll see what happens, you know.